Welcome to the Wilkes Book. What I do is I will listen to the pastor preaching and images will come to my head and I'll start drawing them down, and then eventually it becomes a picture, and a picture of the sermon. It's just a different format than just hearing the word. It's the word in picture. And this was a special one because I was at my sister and brother-in-law's church for my nephew's baby dedication, a very special little Jack. And it's their first child, it's my parents' first grandchild, my first nephew, so it was a special occasion. And I'd actually like to dedicate this to them, my sister and brother-in-law, and I guess anyone that's raising a child. The sermon was about, raising up your child to know the Lord. But usually my images come from what I hear the sermon, the pastor is saying, but this one, most of it was just emotions that were coming out. Other things that I was thinking about before even the service, the whole week leading up. So we see a couple trees, a staircase, some fruit. So what does this have to do with raising up a child? Any Hebrew, any Jewish person knows the Shema. Deuteronomy 6:4. Shema, O Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be on thine heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently to your children, and shalt talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk in the way, when you lie down, when you rise up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as a frontlets between thine eyes, and thou shalt write them upon the post of thy house and thy gates. What is that verse telling us to do? Keep the word, the statutes, the commands, the teachings of God in the house. Let your house be filled with it so that your children know and are taught the ways of the Lord. And that's what the two trees are, the mother and the father. And they're leading us to a staircase. And on top, there's a banister that says, it has a Hebrew word there. Davar. Dalet Bet Resh. That word in Hebrew means word. And a little interesting thing about the Torah, the 5 books of the Bible, the titles of them come from the Greek. But if you would have a title for them in Hebrew, like Genesis would be Bereshit, Deuteronomy would be Davarim, plural of Davar, words. It's just like hymnals that we sing. The title of the song is actually the first phrase, first line in the song. And that's what Deuteronomy is. It's these be the words which Moses spake unto all Israel. That's what Deuteronomy is. Teaching the children, the next generation, before they go into Canaan, the statutes, the commands, the ways of the Lord. So what is this stairway? It's almost like an altar, leading up to an altar. In the Hebrew culture, they would, give their first fruits, their first first of their livestock, first of their crops, first of everything to the Lord. And that included their firstborn son. I'm not saying they sacrificed their son on the altar, but they gave their son, firstborn son, to the temple, to the Lord. They gave their son to the Lord. What they could do, though, is they could buy their son back. Now, Hannah in the Old Testament literally gave her firstborn son Samuel to the Lord, and Eli, the priest, raised him. But you could buy them back if you wanted. But you're still giving your child to the Lord. And that's what raising children is. They're not our children, they're God's children. We're just raising them up. Like the trees. The trees are supposed to be the post, the strength. They're raising them up. And when you raise up a child, you don't know where they're going to go. They climb the stairs, you don't know what's at the top of the stairs. You don't know how they're turning up, where they're going to go, if they're going to follow the Lord, where they're going to live, their job, how well you're going to do. But that's what child raising is. You just raise them up in the way of the Lord. And hopefully they will produce fruit. In the sermon, to the kids, he was talking about apples, giving an apple to your teacher to thank them for teaching you and for loving you and raising you, teaching you the right ways of the Lord. And that's what, when you raise them right, they will produce fruit. And then they can give you the fruit to say thank you for raising me. And we know children in Psalm 127 are like arrows. Lo, children are the heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As arrows are in the hand of the mighty man, so are the children of the youth. Happy is the man that has his quiver full of them. They shall not be ashamed, but they shall speak with the enemy in the gate. So children are arrows. What do you do with arrows? You shoot them. You try to make them straight, make them sharp, and you shoot them. You have to let your children go sometime. But where do you shoot them? You shoot them at the enemy. You are shooting your children at the enemy. If you raise them up in the Word, raise them up in the statutes of the Lord, and you aim them at the enemy, they will do damage to the enemy. If you raise them up to know the Word, the sword of the Spirit, and they know how to use the sword, and when they hit the enemy, they will do damage. That is our purpose. That is the greatest thing that a parent can have, is you see your children raised up, knowing the ways of the Lord, and doing damage to the enemy and building the kingdom of God. So it's a mystery how your children are going to end up, but you do your best. You fill your home with the Word, and you let them go. You lead them up into the stairwell, and you shoot them from your bow. So I hope, Christy and Matt, you're blessed. I know you're going to raise a great child. I know you're going to have more, be fantastic parents. And anyone that's a parent, remind them of the Lord. Teach them. I hope you've been blessed, and I hope you like and subscribe. Hope to have some more. Make it a blessed day.